Hi guys, welcome back to Sila Zuli Terrell. I just wanted to make a little video. I've been compelled in the past few days to talk about this. Um, Sorry for how I look. I have to do my eyebrows. I need to do a self-care day this weekend, hopefully. But I wanted to do a video regarding why is it so hard for people to comprehend and also communicate nowadays? Um, Leave your comments down in the comment section. Let me know if you agree, if you're feeling the same way as I am. Um, Lately, I have been feeling like I have been feeling like if I'm going crazy, like if I'm in another dimension, because speaking to people, communicating with people has been extremely frustrating nowadays. And it has been through all categories of my life, I feel like. Let me get comfortable. Um, so I just feel like people are not listening. People are not reading when you send them something, text, email. Like it's not like the wheels are not turning up there correctly for whatever reason. Like I don't understand. I don't get it. There is so much projecting and assuming going on nowadays that it's like I can't not take it anymore. It's to the point where it's like I have been distancing myself from people for a few years now. And little by little, it's just like, I'm just going to be alone. I am just going to be alone because me and my dog and my cat and my daughter, because it's just to the point where I can't do it anymore. I don't have the patience. And it's just, I don't, at this point, I don't know what to do. Again, let me know if you're feeling the same way. Um, it's just like just a simple form of communication. It's just not registering for people. And I had my spiritual awakening back in 2015, um, where I've been, meditating and trying to come to terms with healing and forgiving people. And those are, I know for a fact, those are my lessons here on this earth. My lessons is having patience, forgiveness, um, and I forgot what the other one was. I should have wrote that down in my notes. But having patience and forgiveness definitely has been the two things in my life that that have been very, very, very difficult to accomplish because I have zero patience. I do not like repeating myself. If I have to tell you 2 times, okay. More than 3 times, I can't. I can't. Especially when you're an adult and I'm repeating to you 3 or more times something, extremely frustrating. Extremely frustrating. And with forgiveness, it's very, very hard to forgive people because I have been burned and backstabbed so many times by people, friends, families, and relationships. And I just find it very hard to trust some people. I, you know, I wait to see how people are. I kind of like examine them and see how they are. And if I see that they do have good intentions, if I see that in a person, then I will open up and be more forthcoming and friendly with people. But right off the bat, I am not friendly right off the bat. If it's work situations, of course, I'm going to be cordial because you need to be professional and so forth. But I try not to be so friendly with people because I have been betrayed so many times. And like, again, we'll start off with the whole communication and how I don't understand how people are not communicating and what it is. Why is it so hard for people to comprehend certain things? I will start up with friends. I have cut out certain friends for a few years now, just because again, communication wise, it's like I don't know. There, not to get into too much detail, but there was one friend in particular where she had a certain situation occur in her life, and it was on the news. Let me just take a little step because I need something. Today was set me to off today, but anyway, there was a certain situation that occurred. It was on the news. Now, if you know me, I do not watch the news. Okay, that's number one. I do not watch the news. Ever since the pandemic occurred, since there was so much, I feel like every time you turn on the TV, it was just negative, 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 fear, fear, fear. Like I know we were going through, scary times, but it just came to a point where it was like, okay, I can't continue to constantly be watching this every single day. So I do not watch the news. Before the pandemic, I used to be the type of person that while I was getting ready, while I was brushing my teeth, getting dressed, doing my hair, the news was on in the background. I would turn on the TV as soon as I got out of bed, and it would be playing in the background just so I could know what's going on. I don't do that anymore. So she had texted me something happened, and I said, oh, so, I'm sorry about that. Like, let me know, if you need anything. I was, asking her questions, trying to speak to her, and she's like, and that's when she said, oh yeah, it was on the news. You didn't see it on the news? And I'm like, no, I don't watch the news. So I gave her a call. We spoke. She let me know where she was, that she was waiting for someone, yada, yada, yada. Didn't stay on the phone with her for too long because I was at work. And then also she was in the situation of handling things. I then text her 2 days later. It was like 2 days later or a day later. And I said, hey, reaching out again to see that you're okay, if you need anything. And she, updated me on the situation, and then told me that she was, let me see if I can remember correctly. She was disappointed in me because I did not reach out to her during the situation when it occurred, and I did not offer help. And I said, I did. I called you. Do you not remember our conversation? You may have been in shock because of the situation. It was a shocking situation. So you may have been in shock and with everything that was going on, and you may not remember our conversation, but I called you. When you texted me, we texted a little bit back and forth, and then I called you. I gave you a call. You told me where you were. You told me who you were waiting for. And she says, oh, I don't recall that. Okay, you don't recall that, but then how would I know that if we didn't have that conversation? And I also said to you, if you needed anything, to let me know. And she said, oh, yes, I was waiting for you to offer such and such, but even if you would have offered it to me, I would have still told you no. Like, again, if you are my friend and you've known me for years, please, we cannot play these games. Please. Like, be straightforward. I reached out to you. I asked you more than once if you needed anything. And for you to say that you don't recall, okay, I'm going to take that as you were in shock. You were going through a lot of things, but how would I know where you were? How would I know who you were waiting for? So whatever, I left it at. Eventually, the relationship kind of died down. Because also I am a single mom. I have, I really don't have the support that I wish I had. And I'm not able to, just go out and do things, or at least now I can a little bit because my daughter's older. But back then, I couldn't do that. I couldn't just be going out to brunch, going out to dinner, doing things. I didn't have the support, and I didn't have the finances to be living that kind of lifestyle also. So eventually things, the relationship fizzled out. Now when it comes to work, this is one that really, sometimes I have to ask myself, am I speaking English? Am I speaking English? Like, Tiffany, are you speaking English? Are you speaking a different language? Like, so I will send emails to people, and I will let them know, please see below, please, this and this and this needs to be revised. I will highlight it. I will mark it in red. And people will still come back and ask me, what is it that needs to be revised? Or better yet, send the information and it's still not revised as per the instructions in the email. And sometimes this will go 3 times in communicating that this is still incorrect and needs to be revised. Again, there comes a time, and again, this is I'm a work in process, and this is, I feel like my lesson here, one of my lessons here, patience. But it's extremely hard when you're dealing with grown adults that are not reading, that are not following simple instructions that are right there in your face. So that has been one dynamic. Another dynamic has been with family. You can say something to someone and be like, oh, you know, I'm going to the store and I'm gonna go get some apples. And it's like, oh, you're going to the store, what are you going to the store for? Like, this is an example. I said what I was getting some apples. Like, that's just like an example. It may be a stupid, weird example, but it's just an example. And it's just like, with family, I feel like you just have to be, well, with me, it's been very frustrating because I don't feel like I've ever been, I don't feel like I'm being heard. And it's the same thing with, like, again, with friends, with work dynamic. I don't feel like I'm being heard. That's my problem. I feel like I am not being heard by people. I don't know if it's how people are not communicating, comprehending. Maybe I'm not communicating properly, but it's just been very hard. And like I said, especially with family, finding a way of speaking to family, because with my family, they are very wanting to project, and it's projection of fear that you're not going to be able to do that. You will let them know, oh, I want to do this. I want to move here. I'm thinking of moving here. I'm thinking of doing this. Oh, how are you going to do that? Oh, with what money are you going to do that? Oh, you can't afford. Like, it's just, why are you doing that? Why do you do that? Like, if you don't agree with something someone is conversing with you about their desires or their wishes, what they're thinking of doing for the future, if you don't agree with it, be quiet. Be quiet. Okay? Keep your opinions to yourself. Like, again, this is stuff that as adults, we should already know. Like, if you have nothing positive to say, don't say nothing. Do not be a dream killer. Okay? Because just because you're afraid of doing something, please stop instilling that fear. Family members out there, stop instilling that fear in people. Okay? Stop killing people's dreams, people's aspirations. Like, stop doing that. Okay? Stop telling people, you know, oh, you're not going to be able to afford that. You're not going to be able to do that. How do you know? How do you know? Something could happen and the person could come to some type of money. Like, people need to stop thinking that just because you don't have it right now, you won't eventually be able to get it. This is why people manifest, meditate, pray, because that opens the way for you to get your desires and what it is that you want in your life, and creating a different and another path for people. I am all about positive energy. I'm all about uplifting people. I never thought that I would be where I am right now. Never thought that I would be able to do this. I prayed so much. And out the blue, something occurred and I was able to make the move that I made. But did I think that it was going to happen in the way that I did? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. But I said to myself and spoke to myself as if I was already where it is I am now. I felt it, I spoke it into existence, and the universe opened up the way. People need to stop being so negative and stop projecting their fears and negativity onto people. And family members, you are the number one corporate of that. I've gone through this also with relationships, communicating with people in relationships. I am very blunt. I am very clear. I let you know what it is that I'm expecting of you when it comes to being in a relationship. I let a man know what it is that I expect, what it is that, I am looking for in a relationship, so on and so forth. Like, I'm not going to waste my time. I don't want to waste my time. I'm going to lay everything out on the table and let you know what it is. And that way also, is this something that you want to move forward with? Cool. We can continue on. If not, that's fine. But I'm very clear, I'm blunt and honest, okay, about what it is that I am looking for. With the last relationship I was in, we are now separated. I was very clear on what I wanted. I wanted a husband. I wanted someone to help, okay? You don't need to fully provide, but we together as a team come together, because that's what a marriage is, a team. We come together to pay bills, to, support each other and do whatever it is we need to do in the household and as a family, so on and so forth. Everything ended up being on me. Everything ended up being on me. And then there was emotional, financial, verbal abuse, which eventually then almost turned into physical. And then that's when I was like, can't do it. Can't do this no more. Nope. Draw the line. And before all that, I made it perfectly clear that I was not going to be in a situation like that. I made it perfectly clear that that was not a relationship that I was going to allow, that I was not going to allow those things. And little by little, but then that was also my fault, because I tried to get out of the situation, but that's for another video, because it's very, very hard for women to get out, women and men, to get out of abusive relationships. It is not that easy. Okay, that support is not out there. Okay, everybody wants to talk about, you could call the hotline, you could call the cops. The cops do absolutely nothing. Okay, nothing. They do nothing. There was times when I called and they did not show up till almost the next day. Okay, so relying on that does not work. You need to just, move in silence and eventually, remove yourself from the situation. But getting back to the topic at hand, because that's a whole nother video. Everything was laid on the table. Everything that I, expected. And even throughout the relationship, having conversations, going through marriage counseling, even with relationships before that, having conversations. Hey, I'm noticing that you're not doing this. You're not helping with this. Like, what can we do to, because this has to change. It can't only fall on me. Talking to the wall. And again, when it comes to relationships, I put it separate from friends, family, and work, because with relationships that those were my fault. There were a lot of red flags there, and because when you're in love, you oversee things. So in that dynamic, there was things that definitely I should have seen the red flags and removed myself. But when it comes to like I said, friends, family, and work, it's just like how do you handle communicating with people and just the frustration of that? Again, maybe it's something that I'm doing. Um, I don't know. At this point, I don't know. I'm trying to, heal and learn and try to see where I'm missing in certain areas. Um, but it has just been a situation like that I have been wanting to make a video about and vent, because it's just been extremely frustrating. And this is why I see a lot of people also on here that have been coming through my YouTube feed, where they're stating they're in their 30s, 40s, 50s, and they want nothing to do with people because people are just so full of shit. People don't, you're just better off, being an introvert than associating with people, because it's become very, very difficult. So again, let me know your thoughts on this video. If you are experiencing any of these situations in your life, and I'll see what other topic I could come to and, chat about. So please like, share, and subscribe. Leave your comments down below, and Ashe.